Today we focus on driving operational excellence with process automation and digitalization. And today with me we have Brando, Amol, and Namita. And key learnings today will be how to harness automation, optimize workflows, improve business performance, along with discover strategies to digitize key processes. And for sure, also we want to gain practical insights with you. Especially Nelson will share from his journey with Schneider, together with Amol, who were together on a journey. So, ready to pardon?
Topic is a bit heavy, but we'll try to keep it light.
Yeah. Do you have your microphone?
You can remember the mic?
Yes. Perfect.
Hello?
Yeah. No.
I was saying topic is a bit heavy, but we'll try to keep it light and interactive.
You will make it. I'm not worried. Great. Okay. So first question. I think maybe not everyone in the audience is familiar with you and your project and your company. So if you can give a quick wrap up, a little bit about what you do in your business, what you're operating on the platform. So I think that would be a good insight and good interaction now for the audience.
Sure. Makes sense. Thank you for having me. So my name is Nelson Brandão. I'm technical product manager of a solution called Product Ecosystem. First, let me ask you, how many of you know a solution called Product Experience Management? Okay, good. So just to set up the context, it's quite simple. It's a solution that goes on top of your PIM, sometimes even replace your PIM, to personalize the experience that you have on your website. The intention is basically ensure that your offer presentation layer is providing the best in class for our customers. In this particular project, what we built, just to set up a bit the context of our stack at Schneider, we have as a main layer, as a base layer, the PIM. On top of our PIM, we have this solution that I will describe, the Product Experience Management. And on top of this solution, we have different websites, different digital solutions, WhatsApp applications, so all digital solutions that we have on Schneider. The main purpose of this project was to enhance the platform, to ensure that we are building something that is scalable, is flexible, and we can optimize the solution, scaling up to other solutions across Schneider. It's a solution that was purely API-driven, so we started the solution building almost 100 of APIs. It's important to mention that our solution is focused on the customer experience. So the APIs that we have are related to the website. So for instance, we have our breadcrumb on the website. There is an API for that. We have the main block of the product page. We have APIs for that. The intention of building the solution in a more, let's say, fragmented way is exactly to make it easy for the other applications of Schneider to consume the solutions, so they don't have to worry with all the business rules that we have on top of our PIM, all the complexity. I am absorbing this complexity, this heavy lift, let's say, and the consumers of my applications, they are just integrating, calling my web components, so we can ensure that different applications across Schneider can consume my offer presentation layer in a standard way. Schneider has a very technical product, so ensuring that we have the proper information with the right rules that we defined before, it was key for us.
Great. Thank you, Nelson. But like now we were in the detail of your application, right? So let's zoom a little bit out and better understand like how can we define operational excellence. And there are some interesting statistics which we checked prior to the session. Was like when we look at overall global labor productivity, and you can compare even Europe and US together, there hasn't been that much improvement over the years when it comes to labor productivity. And that's, for example, also currently a big structural problem in Europe and especially in Germany at the moment. So nevertheless, 65% of the organizations believe that digitalization is the way to improve and drive operational efficiency. and 64% already said that they have achieved improvement with this optimization through automation. So when we were looking also like zooming out a bit to understand like why are we doing this? What is the model? What are the steps to go there? Most companies start with the purpose. Also, I guess you also had a purpose. So top management, your strategy was looking into this. So how would you describe the high-level purpose before you started this mission from your perspective?
That's a good point. The main point for us was to ensure that we are following to the same direction. At Schneider, we have, let's say, a way to build our solutions. And for us, it was critical that PES, the solution that I was managing, was following this direction. Finding the partners and the solution that had more or less the same mindset was also one of the key points for us. And that's why, by the way, we pick Spryker as a platform. Because we know that we have an alignment in terms of purpose, not only our team, but our partners as well. So this for us was key, and of course our internal team.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, interesting when we look into now other topics that need to drive this from this 5 core elements, for example, technical systems and technology. Maybe I'm not jumping into this. When it comes to technology, what are the biggest technology drivers you see out there currently in industries that could drive operational excellence at the moment?
Right, in terms of strategies and drivers, but before I go there, quickly, I'd like to introduce myself. Firstly, I'm thrilled to be back here at Excite for the second time, and absolutely privileged to be here alongside Nelson, my colleague Namit, and of course you, Alex. I'm a partner and director at Nagarro, overseeing the global retail and consumer goods practice, while also leading some of the digital key topics, including digital commerce. A very, very brief introduction about Nagarro. We are a digital special company specializing in complex engineering and building digital products and solutions for clients across 68 countries across the globe. We serve a wide range of industries and are proud to have surpassed the 1 billion mark in the last fiscal year. Back to your point, some of the strategies or the drivers one should be focusing upon while for the operational excellence. I would say think long term, first of all. Combine your deep business insights with industry trends, emerging trends, to craft a very precise, future-focused vision. Prioritize the human element. I think that's the most important part. It's essential to deeply understand your customer personas, your employee personas, your partner personas, and ensure whatever excellence initiatives or drives that you are going after, how exactly are they going to enhance their experiences and add value to their roles. Thirdly, leverage emerging technologies and AI. That's absolutely important. The entire architecture is evolving. People are going after composable commerce architecture, microservice-based architecture, cloud strategies and all. So go for the solutions and the platform like Spryker, which offers all these kind of capabilities, and promote sustainability. That's very crucial. Last but not least, going for the executive buy-in. I think that's absolute must. Any transformation drive you're going for, if it involves an operational excellence, it has to be top-down, and the executive buy-in is critical before you start the program. So those would be the key strategies I would say are critical for this thing.
Yeah, very interesting, and to hear your strategies, because you have worked with a lot of customers and a lot of industries to understand that. Maybe then for you, Nelson, like what are you like when you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What are the top strategies that like after your journey you learned a lot? You would say like, okay, we need to do it again. These are the 5 strategies we need to focus on.
Yeah, thinking about this project particularly, I could mention, well, first, prioritize the process that has higher impact. This for us was super important in a project, in a product that is so complex, so big. Sometimes we put too much effort in things that are not, let's say, entirely a priority, especially in an organization like Schneider, that we are big. Sometimes we receive requests that are coming from top down, from countries that have a good influence. So we have to show with data what is important to prioritize, what will bring more impact to the customers. I think this is super important. So this was one. Second point, AI. I will not even deep dive on this topic, but for sure, I think we are about time to use AI to help us with this process. In-house collaboration. I think this, again, in companies like Schneider, sometimes we have this challenge of working in silos. We have your own visibility about your product, your department, but you don't have this end-to-end vision. So it's important to ensure that us, as a leaders, we are enhancing the collaboration across the organization. This was 3. I would say optimize before automating. This was one key learnings for us. Sometimes we want to automate everything, but it's not even optimized yet. So look at your process, optimize first, and then automate it. This, for me, was one of the key learnings for this project. And before passing the ball to you guys, I would say investing in the human factor. I think most of the times what defines the success of your organization is the human factor. So you can automate or optimize as much as you can, but if your team is not on board with you, it will not make any difference. So the human factor for me was super important.
Okay, so there's still room for humans in this.
There are.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Good. Then, moving on, talking about humans. You have worked with a team. You had a lot of stakeholders all over the world with this project. Can you share some examples to the audience, like how your team leveraged this, process automation and digitalization on this journey?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned a bit the fact that we created this project with the API first approach. The objective at the end was optimize the offer publication chain that we have on Schneider. For us, this is a very critical process. We have more or less, I would say, hundreds of thousands of SKUs in the website. We have more than almost 100 countries that we have to serve the same data. So the amount of updates that we receive daily, it's also insane. So for us, it was critical to ensure that we have a streamlined operation, and we were controlling the data flow in all the touch points. We're ensuring that we have a control in the data quality as well in all of the touch points. And being API first approach for us helped with this point as well. Just to share a bit on the previous system that we had, we were practically locked. Back-end, front-end, APIs, everything in one system only. The way that we build the solution, we split a bit. We have a headless solution. We have a group of APIs. So now I have flexibility. If I want to integrate my system with another application, I can easily integrate parts of the systems or the entire front end, for instance. Now we are doing a project with super apps, WhatsApp application, and they are consuming only data from my system. So the intention was, I think we achieved the goal that we had with the system.
Next question, and I think it connects a little bit also to the keynote we heard from Boris this morning, where it was about efficiency gains, reducing costs, creating value. It's like more and more companies and CFOs are involved even more now in decisions and these large projects. Is about like the results. So are there some results you can share that you're proud of, where you can say, okay, we had KPIs behind this, and this is now we can measure the success of the solution?
Yeah. Of course, we have dozens of KPIs that I cannot share all of them.
No, nothing made up, you know.
But we're very proud of this first one, the optimization of the time to market. This was a really, a pain point for us because, as I said, we had several systems and several points until the information about the product goes to my final consumers. So we have our data architects, we have our PIN champions in each one of the countries. I mean, so many steps, and sometimes the change that you do in your product in your country would take, I don't know, 1 week to read the website, which was crazy. So we managed to reduce this time to market to 50%. Only with the rollout of the project. For me, this was not only for me, but for the entire company was great. And it's important to mention that this is a continuous effort. It's not something that, okay, we went live and that's I achieved 50%. It's something that you can lose with one release. So it's a continuous effort. It's something that we are always on top of. Another point is web performance improvement. It was not the initial intent, to be honest. We had the goal to ensure that we were not disrupting anyhow the customer with this project. So we had some KPIs and some measures to ensure that, okay, we are live. I'm not impacting the customer. But thanks to the effort of the team, we managed to have an improvement on the web performance as well. It was a good consequence. And again, also that we are doing continuously. Scalability, as I mentioned, our product is extremely used across Schneider, so we needed to ensure that we had room for improvement. In our previous setup, we were practically stuck. If you had to scale up, it was a nightmare. So scalability was a key factor before we even start the project. So I think now we are in a good pace. And the last point, I think we discussed yesterday during the HERD event with some colleagues about how to increase the adoption, how to collect feedback about your product. And that's one of my missions now with the system is to increase the adoption of the solution across Schneider. If I have someone from Schneider Turkey or Schneider Brazil that wants to build a new website, a new solution, I want to ensure that they are using the solution that we built. That's our goal, because we know that if they consume the solution that we built, they will have already the connection with PIN, all the business rules that we have on Schneider, all the relationships that we have the product recommendation with the right rules. Again, we have a technical product, so I cannot play with the recommendation based only on user navigation, otherwise I will indicate the wrong product. That's why for us, it's super important to ensure that our consumers of this application, they are consuming from the right source, and the right source is the system that we built.
Great. Yeah, then when thinking about other organizations, so you have been quite successful with this initiative so far, and maybe I'm not looking at your experience. What do you think are the steps that organizations have to ensure on this journey when it comes to process automation?
Right. If an organization is embarking on this journey, I would say few of the things to keep in mind. Think of business first, technology second. It's important to prioritize business transformation and process optimization before diving into digitalization, which again, I think you were trying to call out. Then prioritize the human element. I think that's the most important part. It's essential to deeply understand all the personas and consider all the changes that are being done. How are they impacting them? Then change management. Do not underestimate the change management. That's one of the most important aspects. And if you are getting into the process efficiency journey, try to do a thorough analysis of your entire value chain, including your internal and external touch points, understand the gaps, understand the moments of truth, understand the opportunities, prioritize them, and then try to fix them one at a time. So those would be the, I would say, initial few steps that people should watch out for. And for the common pitfalls, you would like to add?
Yeah, thank you, Anmol. So I'll first like to introduce myself. Hello, everybody. I'm Namita Satija. I handle the market growth and business. I'm a market growth and business consultant at Nagarro, and I strive to optimize and maximize the business value for a lot of digital commerce projects. And my sweet spot lately has been with Spryker implementations. And I'd also like to mention a little bit about Nagarro, Alex, if you'd agree. So we're the go-to SI for Spryker, and we've also, in a countrywide, we've done the largest global countrywide implementation for Spryker. So that's about me. And regarding the common pitfalls, before I come to the pitfalls, I'd like to say that any sort of transformation, whether it's digital or business transformation, McKinsey and Gartner, they have their reports that say that 70% of business transformations, they fail because of some reason or the other, right? And 80%, more than 70% of digital transformations fail. So why is it happening? I think the reason why it's happening is because we are trying to transform digitally before aligning our strategic business goals to those transformations. So unless and until we link those two, it's definitely going to fail, I believe. But then in the long run, I think we need to transform. So change, or any sort of change, is like a new pair of shoes, So it's going to leave a blister or two. So you should, first of all, I think, believe that change will definitely happen, and it's going to leave a blister or two, so be prepared for it. But then the common pitfalls, I believe, are, let's say, jumping into digital transformation without understanding business architecture. I think that's the first pitfall. The second is sort of what Anmol said, overlooking the importance of change management and user adoption. That's the second one. And I think the third one, as Nelson also mentioned, that before you simplify the processes or understand the processes, you try to have a digital transformations. I think these are the common three pitfalls that I'd want organizations to be aware of.
And so when it comes to, and it's also a question we'll have for you, but first to Nelson, and maybe then we can also start a little bit of QA session on this one. This sounds all perfect, you've done your project, you have your steps, you know the pitfalls. I'm running the consulting or expert consulting business at Spryker, and we have a lot of things that sometimes don't work. So I haven't heard anything of that. So what are like the, I would call like the really screw-ups you had during your project that happened, and you can also ask for more if you want later, because it's too perfect, right? It's like we have the steps, we have the strategy, some nice McKinsey slide, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The real world is not like that, we all know. So what,
as long as whatever we say here remains here, we're all good.
Yeah. So Ness, I'm straight. Like, what are the fuck-ups you had on your journey?
Well, first of all, I was invited here to only say good things about the project. So this is unfair.
About Spryker, not about your project.
Fair point, fair point. Let's see, about this project, so many things. Alex, I think we could...
I can go back to the slides where you said, like, let's pick something. No, just making a joke, please.
No, true. But I think one mistake that we made in the beginning, we were so worried with performance, with the back end of the system, and the communication between Spryker and Schneider, that we kind of neglect the small things that for us were not important, like the limit of the product recommendation, how we display a price, and small things. But those small things were the most important ones from my consumer and for the customers. So it was a major gap for us in the beginning. It aligns more or less with what discussed, focusing too much on the most complicated things and neglecting what will bring more value to the customer. So I think this was one really good pain point that we had with this project.
Namita, you want to pick one?
Yeah, I had the privilege to be part of this project from day one, and if I may, I would like to add rather two. So we made it super ambitious by having a moving goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
So our goalpost kept changing during the course of the year, and it was a big migration project. And I think all of us thought that we'll be able to do it. You know, that's always the case. If you are changing, why not use this opportunity to improve things, right? We don't want to just replicate some of the bad things, and which makes sense. But it became so super ambitious that it was difficult to catch up and meet the deadline. Though we managed to finish the entire program in 1.5 years, but the initial goal was to wrap it up by in a year or so. So that was one. And the second one, I think we always fall for it, always fall for it. We were told that all of us assume that entire documentation is there. All we need to do and see what has been mentioned
Not
and
by
written
me, yeah.
earlier, and we just replicate it. Oh man, and then no, there's no documentation. So we literally had to reverse engineer, dissect each and every line of code of the existing system, understand what's the logic behind, and then replicate to the new system. So I think perhaps
It was a test to ensure
Okay.
you passed.
we also got Nirjesh, who is our lead architect here. So perhaps if you have time, I'm sure he'll be able to share many such goof-ups and bad things we did during the entire course of project. And it was a good learning for all of us, honestly. And hopefully when we do it again.
I have a code review from my team for you after the show, so then we can continue. Okay, great. Yeah, I think we're through. Let's have a little bit of a Q&A. I think you open up, so you can ask the tough questions now, I think. If there are any questions in the audience, then yeah, let's wrap it up.
You mentioned. Thank you. You mentioned that you want to, or one of the key learnings from you was to improve the process before you start with the digitalization. In a perfect world, I would agree, but to which extent do you do this? Because I come from a very traditional industry where it is hard to improve the processes before you start with the digitalization, because you have all this change management, the human factor. So when do you stop improving the current process and start digitalizing it?
Yeah, good question. Before answering that, it's important that, at least for me, companies are like live organisms, you know. Each company has its own characteristics. So what we are sharing here is our learnings with this. It doesn't mean that you can copy and paste and apply to your company. It's not always like that. I wish it was. But what I meant by that was sometimes we were focused on optimizing a wrong process, something that was not working perfectly. And before investing on the technical part of it, assess with the team, okay, what we are doing is correct. Are we going in the right direction? And sometimes we made a mistake of, okay, I'm taking 2 hours, just an example, to do this process. Let's optimize it because it's taking too much. But okay, I really need that process. There are consumers of that particular item. That's what I mean. Sometimes you invest time and effort from your team automatizing things that are not so relevant for you. That was my point. Thank you for the question.
And I think we did similar here as well, right? It's usually the tactic that we try to follow is take baby steps, take 1 or 2 use cases, think of the use cases which are not going to disrupt your entire current ways of working. And even when you are picking up one use case, not necessarily the entire processes need to be revamped on day one, right? Maybe just two touch points could be optimized, and there is some digital presence created, and then one at a time, because change management will be very complex. So it will be absolutely impossible to revamp the entire processes and look after digitalization. So one step at a time, one use case at a time, go for the products which are not very disruptive. If you're selling a lot of hardware products, and if you think selling a software or service product is a good strategy, okay, let's start with that. With the products which require very low touch consulting, no involvement of sales or executives or business users are needed. So at least we have something out there, and then we gradually keep changing the practices and operations and processes within the organization.
Perfect. I think there was another question. And please state maybe your name, company, and industry. That would help.
Okay. Yes, I'm Greg Smith from Rico Americas.
Hi.
And
Hi, Greg.
Nelson, hi Anmal, hi Namita. Yes, I know your panel. And I think I met Nelson yesterday. So my question is, you talked about you're about to focus more on user adoption now that you've run through the course of your implementation. But I'm curious about how much the idea of user adoption drove your roadmap and the functionality that you identified and the sort of the key functions that you released early in your roadmap.
Yes, very good question. And when I talk about user adoption in my context, it's important to mention that I'm not talking about my end customer. I am talking about the consumers of my application. In my case, the internal Schneider folks. So Schneider Turkey, Schneider India, Schneider US. If I build a product or a solution in Schneider to serve only one country or only one department, I'm probably creating tech debt, basically. So the goal of all the solutions that we are building there is ensure that we have consumers. First, ensure that we have a need, ensure that we will be able to scale the solution across the countries. I am in a global position, so everything that I do is for the countries. So having only one country, it's purely creating tech debt. That's why for us, adaptability, scalability are not just buzzwords. My solution needs to be open to adopt, to insert new countries and new consumers. That was the main point for me.